Well. The NFL draft is now behind us, and now we look forward. We are in that week in between the draft, aftermath, and next week when the NFL schedule will be announced. So this is sort of some would say a slow time in the NFL world. Well, we do have some news that we want to talk about. And more than that, I want to talk about the general perception of the New York Jets and how fair is it really? So we're going to get into all of that. Plus, you know what's going on tonight. 3 and out. We got some trivia. We just might spin the wheel. Guys, you know what's up. It's Wednesday night. It's 6 p.m. and we are live. And well. Welcome everybody to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am your party host, Wa2K99. Thank you as always for joining me for another weekly Wednesday Night Live extravaganza. You know what's up. All right, so we have a whole bunch of things that we want to talk about tonight. I have a few things that are on my mind, even though as we sit here May 7th, it seems like we're heading into the slow part of the NFL season. So, guys, we're going to get into it right now. Let's talk about what's on my mind. And I got some things on my mind tonight with a little bit of what we like to call 3 and out. So, first thing I got to mention really quick, the New York Islanders. If you're an Islander fan, congratulations. You win the NFL draft lottery for the first time in 16 years. I think this is really a makeup. It's a makeup rigging because they were going to host the All-Star game in, I believe, next year. That got taken away for an international event. And certain politicians on Long Island whined about it. I think this is Gary Bettman trying to make good with the team of his youth. Okay, so you can't tell me that those things aren't connected. But, hey, Islanders will have a chance to inject some new blood into their organization, which they sorely need. As far as baseball goes, so the Mets are actually playing right now. They're leading Arizona 4-1 in the bottom of the 8th. 2 home runs by Juan Soto. That's looking pretty good. Good job by Max Kranick getting Ketel Marte out with 2 runners on in the 7th. But I just think about Pete Alonso. What a great season he has had. And you take it back to that home run off Devin Williams against Milwaukee last October to basically win that series for the Mets, October 3rd. He hits the home run off Devin Williams, ending his Brewer career. Then they trade him to the Yankees. And it's amazing how different the careers of both players has gone. Now, I know Pete has done nothing the last 2 days, but through Monday's games, Alonso had played 46 games, including the postseason, hitting .335, 12 home runs, 40 RBIs. His OPS is 1.116. That's insane. He leads the NL in 6 or 7 different offensive categories this year. And if you were to run the MVP vote right now, he is easily top 3, likely top 2 with Fernando Tatis. Devin Williams, in the 14 games he's pitched since then, his ERA is over 10. He's allowed 13 earned runs in 11.2 innings. He's allowed as many earned runs this year, and we played just over a month. He's allowed as many runs this year as he did in both 2023 and 2024 combined. Absolutely crazy. So I'll still be monitoring the Mets game a little bit. Hopefully they hold on and win the series against a very good Diamondbacks team. And then we got to talk about tonight, the New York Knicks. Forgive me, but I got to go blue right there. I can't be putting green on the screen right now. It's just too Celtics-ish. So I'm going to be sticking with blue for the rest of the night. But it's a huge opportunity for the Knicks to really make a statement if they can take both games in TD Garden. I think winning game 2 will be much harder than it was to win game 1. I thought Boston really gave game 1 away with the way that they played. You're up 20 points midway through the third quarter, and the Celtics, they shot 20 field goals in the third quarter. 19 were three-pointers. Now, losing Sam Hauser, losing Kristaps Porzingis, that hurt their depth. which is really one of the biggest advantages that they have in the series against the Knicks. But hey, give credit to the Knicks. They took advantage. They rallied. They take the game in overtime. Probably the funniest stat from the game, Mitchell Robinson had the game high plus minus at plus 13, even though he played 21 minutes, didn't attempt a single field goal, and went 3 of 10 from the free throw line. But credit to Mikal Bridges, made the game-clinching steal. And I said when I did my preview, because I did a separate preview video for Knicks Celtics, the 3 X-Factor players for the Knicks would be Cat, Deuce McBride, and OG Anunoby. Well, Cat wound up in early foul trouble, had 14 points, 13 rebounds, but I wouldn't call it a great game. He was okay. Deuce, I thought, played one of his better games in a while. 4 of 8 from the field, 11 points, but OG Anunoby, to me, was the story of the game for a single player. 29 points, 4 rebounds. He was driving to the hoop with force, made 6 3-pointers, and now 7 p.m. tonight, game 2. Do I expect the Knicks to win the series? I can't say that I do. I said Boston in 6, and I'm going to hold to that right now because remember, the Knicks are a better road team, but the Celtics are a better road team than they are home team. So just because the Knicks are taking it back to the Garden doesn't mean it's a home court advantage. But everybody out there knows this series is going to be a fight. And that's and I think that's probably enough to save Tom Thibodeau's job, in all fairness. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. I may be leaving the blue on the screen, but I think we got to change the scene of the crime from, let's change it right there, from Madison Square Garden to MetLife Stadium. I think I want to go, let's go with the night scene. I want some fireworks in the background. Yeah, there we go. It looks so good. Those beautiful green lights, which we may not get to see at all one time this year, because I don't expect it just to be hosting a whole bunch of night games. But everybody, it is time to get into the main event of the night. So, well, I guess I'm going to have to flip it over to green real quick. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to access the audio. But everybody say it with me. Say it proud. Say it loud. Let it go. All right, let's talk a little New York Jets football. So let's go. There's a lot of random news that I want to talk about. This is going to be a few random notes. That's what we're going to get into tonight. It's going to be the potpourri of Jets topics. Now, if you all in the chat, I see there's a few of you there. If you have any thoughts, you have any questions, any comments, throw them down there in the chat. This show gets a whole lot more fun when we get to interact with one another. And I see the Mets are out of the 8th inning. They go to the 9th, up 3. Good job by Wasco Brazaban to get out of the inning. All right, very good. So we look at the upcoming schedule. Rookie minicamp begins on Friday, May 9th. It will go till May 11th on Sunday. So we'll see all the rookies, all the drafted rookies, all the undrafted free agents coming in, trying to make their presence felt, try to get noticed by this brand new coaching staff. And let's face it, there are quite a few jobs open on this New York Jets roster for the 2025 season. And then we look at off-season at the OTAs. So they will be on May 20th through the 22nd, May 28th through the 30th, and June 2nd through June 5th. And then the mandatory camp, the only mandatory period is June 10th to June 12th. Okay, so everything else is voluntary. Hopefully the Jets get close to perfect attendance. I don't know if anybody has yet booked a trip to the pyramids or to the Great Wall of China or to Mars. I mean, who knows? So those are the upcoming scheduled dates to be aware of. Denzel Mims. Yeah, did you think we'd be talking about Denzel Mims tonight? Well, guess what? We are. By the way, please hit that thumbs up button. Hit that like. It is very much appreciated. Why am I bringing up Denzel Mims? Well, the St. Louis Battlehawks, that's a UFL team, they have released Denzel Mims as of this week. This year, he had 5 catches for 51 yards. When you get released from the UFL, it's honestly time to change your career. Okay, I don't know what else Mims likes to do. I don't know what he got his degree in, but Denzel, it's time to let football go. It didn't work out. It's a shame it didn't work out. The pick made sense. Definitely going to go down as one of the worst draft picks the Jets have had in the Joe Douglas era. I will say that. Another former Jet that we need to talk about is Foley Fatukasi. Harlan asks, is Mims going to be a Jet again? I think there's, how do I say this? There's a better shot of Rashad Perriman becoming a Jet again. No. Denzel Mims, I would be shocked if he plays another game in the NFL. I mean, again, you get released from the UFL. Come on. You know, but Foley Fatukasi, a lot of Jet fans were talking about him, asking, is there a former late round draft pick? Maybe you bring him back to help shore up that run defense, because there's no doubt one thing the Jets seem to be lacking on their roster. There's a few things, but a bona fide run stopper up the middle. That's something they don't have, and Foley Fatukasi will not be filling that job. He resigns with Houston, and I want to put Foley Fatukasi in perspective for anybody who may have wanted to bring him back. Now, when he was with the Jets in 2019 and 2020, that's 4 years ago, his run defense grade was top 5 among all defensive tackles. 2021, that was his last year with the Jets. He was still good. 15 games, 46 tackles, 6 quarterback hits. Then he leaves. He goes to Jacksonville. The numbers start to drop. He gets released after 2 years, after the 2023 year. And then he goes to Houston, where he spent last season. And he started 11 games for Houston before suffering a season-ending shoulder injury. So he did play, but he wasn't exactly effective. So in the 11 games he played, he had 24 tackles total, 4 for a loss, 3 quarterback hits, and his run defense grade was 32.4. That was his career low. And out of 219 defensive tackles, you know where that ranks? 209. Okay? Solomon Thomas would do a better job than that. All right? So he re-signs with Houston. It just because we know the player does not mean that he is the right fit to come back in. So give these other guys. The Jets already signed Derek Nottie. He could basically do the same thing. Byron Cowart, same thing. You know, we have 2 undrafted free agents, one from West Virginia, one from Clemson. So let's see what they can do. Let's see what Leonard Taylor can do in his second season. But was Foley Fatukasi needed? I really, really don't think so. So, yeah, Harlan, yep, you're talking about, right, the one from West Virginia with the hard-to-pronounce name, I know. But, you know, he will have every opportunity. It will be a very open competition at defensive tackle, no question about that. And the best, you know, it's, again, wide receiver and defensive tackle are very similar. You have one, I would say, great player, and then you got a bunch of question marks, a bunch third, fourth level guys. And if one can stand out at each position, you know what? That would be great. You just hope somebody earns it and doesn't get the position because they have a lot of experience in the league, or they were like the only one to not get hurt. You know, that's the biggest thing I'm hoping for. Like, for instance, Arian Smith, I have under no presumptions he's going to start. Okay. Use him on gadget plays, on smoke plays, screen plays, end arounds. Do that. That's all you really want to do with Arian Smith to get started. But I'm fine if it has to be Josh Reynolds starting at wide receiver if they're not going to sign anybody else. Okay. So that's one thing that I do want to say as far as defensive tackle goes. So it's no loss that that Foley is going there. His nickname is Fat because that is the first 3 letters of it. Yeah, Fatty, Fatso. You can go all kinds of places there. Faux Fat. But hopefully Fatukasi will be healthy this year. And hey, the Jets don't play Houston for a change, so we won't have to worry about seeing him until the playoffs, as I knock on wood. Okay, Brady Cook. I want to spend a minute talking about Brady Cook because this is sort of undrafted free agents week, and the fact that the Jets did not draft a quarterback, and they really only have 2 Fatorma, right. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. Lukin or something like that. But Brady Cook, you know that Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor will be the 1 and 2 quarterbacks respectively. After that, you know, I would expect the Jets to be carrying 3 quarterbacks, but it's really Brady Cook and Adrian Martinez. That's it. Now, Adrian Martinez, he could run, but if we remember the exhibition season last year, he's not a very accurate thrower of the football. Okay, we've seen some good games from him. We've seen some bad games from him. And I think they're going to give Brady Cook every opportunity to take the 3rd quarterback job. So let's just talk about him for a minute and what he offers. So he played 47 games in 5 years at Missouri. I do like that Armand Membu is there, that his right tackle is on the Jets. I think that's pretty good. But in those 47 games, he had 9,251 passing yards, so almost 200 a game, 50 touchdowns, about a touchdown a game. His completion rate was about 66%, plus he can run too. Ran for over 1,200 yards, ran for 21 touchdowns. So he can run a little bit. And in 2023, that was his best year. 3,317 yards, 21 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Did a good job. And I think the biggest thing that scouts noticed that year, he was showing some growth as a decision maker. All right. He's been a little prone to be making some bad decisions with the football, but 2023, he started to get better with that. Then in 2024, completed 62% of his passes, 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 5 rushing TDs, 11 passing TDs. 2024 also, he only threw, only 2 interceptions to 11 touchdowns. I mean, and it's more than just that, though. His turnover-worthy play rate was only 1%. So 1 out of every 100 plays he made was a likely turnover. So he's gotten smarter and smarter over time, and I appreciate that. He could also run very well, 88th percentile among quarterbacks in the 40-yard dash. His RAS, if you want to go back to the RAS score, 9.71 out of 1,000 quarterbacks since 1987. That's 30th. Okay, 30th over how many years is that? Since 1987. Yeah, almost 40 years. Okay, and he's 30th out of 1,000 quarterbacks with his athleticism. So I like the idea of Cook being the third quarterback on this team. Of course, I don't think that's going to prevent the Jets from drafting a quarterback next season, depending on how everything goes. But I think Cook is somebody who could possibly stick, along with Donovan Edwards, the running back from Michigan. I'm pretty excited about those 2 players in particular. Now, I want to spend a minute here on the kicker competition because the Jets are going to have another big decision to make here as well. Now, Caden Davis is the kicker they signed from Ole Miss. That's who you see pictured here on the screen. It looks like a UFL uniform, but it's actually Missouri. See a few more people are in the chat. Hey, everybody. Appreciate you guys stopping by. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, put them down there in the chat. Hit that thumbs up. I appreciate you guys spending part of your hump day evening with me. And let's see. The Mets have first and second one out. All right. Very good. Very, very good. But it's not only Caden Davis they've added as kicker. They also added a tryout participant from Rhode Island named Donato Crisanti. So Donato Crisanti's, I believe that's a wine I purchased at Trader Joe's last week. Very nice tasting notes, a little bit of cherry on the front, a little bit of plum on the back. Nice quick finish. The Donato Crisanti brand of wine. But no, he's actually a kicker who's going to be at the rookie mini camp this week. And we think about the incumbents on this roster. You've got Greg Zuerlein. I mean, made 60% of his field goals and only 93% of his extra points. Anders Carlson's still here, made 80% of his field goals and 81% of his extra points. Okay, we thought Zuerlein was bad. I mean, Carlson was as bad. When you're only making 4 out of 5 extra points, that stinks. Okay, and there were 20 kickers in the NFL who attempted at least 20 kicks and made over 85% of their field goals. So that's sort of the baseline right there. If you're under 85%, I'm sorry, you don't need to have a job. You really, really don't. Now, think about the salary situation here. Greg Zuerlein is set to count at $4.7 million against the cap this year. So unless he's perfect throughout the preseason, he's not going to be around. And if the Jets cut him after June 1st, they could save $4.15 million this year and another $1.15 million next year. So you have a little bit of cap room. Carlson is not going to win this kicking job Zuerlein is not going to win the kicking job by default. He has to earn this job. Now, Carlson, he signed a reserve deal for a hair over $1 million, but none of it is guaranteed. So if they cut Carlson and Zuerlein, they're saving over $5 million. And they could save another $905 if they want to cut Thomas Hennessy, followed by another $1.1 million next year, and another $1.3 million in 2027. And I think Thomas Hennessy is prone to getting cut. The Jets, I think, could save $2 million if they let him go. So the special teams guys are on notice. Okay, and I could see a situation if the Jets are trying to create a little bit of cap room to bring in a wide receiver, to bring in a tight end, to bring in a defensive tackle. Special teams is a very vulnerable place. All right. Now, as far as the comp picks go, I don't think I went there. Yeah, I'll talk about the comp picks here for a second. So there's a little bit of confusion right now, and I think we talked about this last week. There is some confusion right now what the Jets are going to have next year. And the truth of the matter is it really depends on where you go. You're going to get different information from different sources. Okay, so the Jets are either going to have 2 or 3 comp picks next year. The formula is already done. There's nothing else to be decided as of yet, as far as free agents coming in or going, since it is past the draft. Now, right now, the Jets have a 4th-round pick because of Hassan Reddick and a 7th-round pick because of Tyler Conklin. Now, the expectation is they will get another 7th-round pick, and it's based off Solomon Thomas playing X number of snaps for Dallas. We don't know what that is, but Lance Zierlein describes it as a modest amount of snaps. This is like the weather report. Partly sunny, partly cloudy. We don't know what it's going to be, but let's just go with somewhere in the middle. That way we look smart either way. But if you go to overthecap.com, it just has the 2 picks, the 4 and the 7. So all of this is to be determined. We might have to wait on it, but it is possible the Jets could get another comp pick towards the end of the 7th round. Do I expect it to be overly meaningful? I honestly don't. But so there is some uncertainty with the comp pick formula. That's the latest as far as that goes. The great Tony Alexio is here. How you doing tonight, my friend? Hope you're having a fantastic week. So let's talk about the next steps for this roster. Now, I'm still hoping for a blocking tight end. I think we are still missing that. I think it is a major, major hole. Yes, the offensive line is good. I like the offensive line. It could be great by the end of the year. The tackles are still super young, and I think we need to remember that. But I expect an offense that is going to be heavy on running the football. I expect some RPOs. I expect, offensive linemen trying to get them out in space. And if you're relying on 3 running backs, which the Jets should be doing because they have 3 very good ones, possibly 4 if you include Edwards. Your quarterback is not a great thrower of the football. I think we know Justin Fields doesn't have the most accurate arm. I don't think he's reached his ceiling yet, but we can't count on him throwing pinpoint passes all over the field, okay? So then if that's the case, plus you're not loaded with capable pass catchers, you need all the blocking you can get, and that includes the tight end position. Now, we're not expecting a fullback on the roster. The days of Nick Bawden are behind us. Yeah. Did anybody have Nick Bawden mentioned on their bingo card tonight? I'm not too sure about that. Andrew Beck, he's the fullback who's in camp. Godspeed, all the best. If you make the roster, God bless you. But right now, the Jets have Mason Taylor, Jeremy Ruckert, and Stone Smart. Stone Smart is basically a slot receiver masquerading as a tight end. Jeremy Ruckert, we have been through it over and over how bad a blocking tight end he is. If you put him in that H-back role, fine, he can be competent, but you don't want him as that X tight end next to the offensive line. He isn't good at it. I'm going to keep screaming this until I see something different. Looks like the Mets just busted it open, 7-1. Very nice. Francisco Lindor with a double, 7-1. I'd say the Mets have this freaking one in the bag. Very, very good. But then you go to Mason Taylor, and the best way I could describe him from everything that I've seen, articles, videos, he's a willing blocker. He's a capable blocker. He is not a polished blocker yet. He still has to develop that. If the Jets had another tight end who was really for blocking, I'd be good with that. They don't have that right now. Right now, if Mason Taylor is your primary blocking tight end, you're behind the 8 ball. All right. I hope I'm wrong about that, but that's what from everything that I've seen. If you're going from college to the pros and you were just an okay blocking tight end in college, I know it's the SEC, but you better be ready for the pros because they're going to target him. Okay. So there's a little bit of concern there. So then I look at the tight ends who are available. I went to the free agent list, and guys, this is not very inspiring. Okay. I'll come back to that. I just made a list. I didn't want to make a slide out of this because it's honestly depressing. Okay. Gerald Everett, 30 years old, made $6 million. Mercedes Lewis, who's 41 years old. I mean, he's almost as old as I am. Jordan Akins, who played in Cleveland. CJ Uzama. Is any Jet fan out there hoping for a reunion? Me thinks not. Cole Pruitt. Jeff Swaim. Nick Vanett from Tennessee. I think the Jets may have had him for a second. Hayden Hurst from the Chargers. Tyler Davis from Green Bay. Jody Fortson. Peyton Hendershot from Kansas City. Quentin Morris. Dalton Keene from Houston. Anthony Ferkser, who we had last year for about 2 seconds. And we put him in, and we saw how that worked out. Translation, the rest of the free agent tight end class sucks. Hopefully the Jets could bring one in, come cut day when August comes around, because that's the next chance they're going to have to get a tight end, unless they make a trade. We know that Dallas Goedert is now not an option. Philadelphia is reworking his contract. They want to keep him, and Goddard didn't seem very keen on going anywhere. I can't say that I blame him. If the Jets could swing a trade for a Mark Andrews, you know what? I'd be very happy about it. But I think that's a position the Jets should be targeting after cuts happen way down the road. Because I'm telling you, there'll be some tight ends who shake loose, and you're not looking for a threat. You are looking for a blocker more than anything. Now, maybe a wide receiver. Maybe that's something the Jets should look at. Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, those are the marquee names. They're out there. You get them for a one-year deal. Cool. I would even take Tyler Boyd at this point. Not the best receiver in the world, but a professional route runner. I would take him as a number 2 receiver for a year. DJ Chark, I like his capability, but he is prone to dropping the ball way too much. So I think another name that people are going to bring up, and I want to address this one particular name as a swig of water for the working man right here. And working woman, of course, is Gabe Davis. Now, he has been released by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I've seen a few Jet fans who are very interested. Glenn Naughton, who I like and respect. I had a little back and forth with him on nothing angry, just a little friendly debate on Twitter earlier today. He is very pro bringing in Gabe Davis. I am not. Gabe Davis was very good in 2022 and 23 when he had Josh Allen throwing the ball to him. And he was the number 2 option behind Stephon Diggs. Last year with Jacksonville, his first year with the Jaguars, 20 catches on 42 targets. All right, when your catch percentage is under 50%, I'm not a fan of that. 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not too good. And he only played 10 games, so he dealt with some injuries. But again, he only had 128 yards total. That's not exactly inspiring. There are too many games when he disappears, and as a former fantasy owner of his, I can testify it's true. You know what I see when I look at Gabe Davis? Robbie Anderson, the sequel. All he does is go long. He has speed, but he doesn't have natural separation agility. He doesn't make contested catches. Yes, he's had some big catches in the playoffs. Yeah, we need catches to get us to 500, not to the playoffs. Would I give him a 1-year prove-it deal? Maybe, but nothing more than 1 year. Nothing more than 1 year. I don't really think he's that much better than a Josh Reynolds or even an Allen Lazard. I just don't. The Jets have Arian Smith, basically the same player in my mind. Gabe Davis just has a little more polish. If you bring in Gabe Davis, what that tells us is you don't believe in Arian Smith at all. And he had a shitty rookie minicamp. Gabe Davis smells like death to me for Arian Smith, if that were to happen. Yeah. I know what you mean. Chart could fit in with the Jet receivers. I think that's a reference to the dropping. Will we get a draft pick for Butterfinger and Lazard? I think if anything, it would be a conditional pick. Maybe it would take Aaron Rodgers, first of all, going to Pittsburgh. I don't know if that's going to happen. But now that what's-his-face has been traded away from Pittsburgh, now that George Pickens is on Dallas, they got some holes over there, to say the least. You have the Jets and Steelers wide receiver rooms are not that much different. You have DK Metcalf and then a bunch of, practice squad little guys. Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin, who has not exactly worked out very well. The only way they bring in Lazard is if Rodgers, I would do like a problem for problem situation, but yeah, Lazard for, you need like a young veteran. I mean, the Steelers have like some young players. I don't know if they have the equivalent of a Lazard. I'm sure Lazard is on the trading block. Like he's put out a few different gifts today. Like where he was the shock one. And then he was like, sort of, that's not going to happen. So I think the indication from Lazard is he does not expect to be traded, but anything could change. Anything could change. Right now, I expect Lazard to be a Jet. And if the Jets were to be able to trade him for anything, I think you're looking at him and a 7th for another 6. Of course, the Jets don't have a 7th round pick next year. So outside of the comp picks. So yeah, I don't expect it right now. But again, it'd be a late day 3 pick, if anything, but hey, at least the contract's a little bit more affordable. But unless you're bringing in Aaron Rodgers, why would you want Allen Lazard on your team? Why? I just don't understand it. Okay, so I'm going to let's see here. Yeah, I'm actually going to take the slide off, and I'm going to bring it back in a couple of minutes. But I want to talk just generally about the perception of this roster for a few minutes. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter show tonight. I can already tell. Give everybody a chance to watch the Knicks game if you're interested in that. But following the draft, I look at the ESPN power rankings. Not that I take them overly seriously, but the Jets were dropped by ESPN from 27th, that's pre-draft, to 30th after the draft. Okay, so down 3 spots from after free agency to after the draft. The only teams ranked below the Jets right now are Tennessee at 31 and the Giants at 32, who I got to tell you, I thought the Giants had a very good draft. You know, guys like Scatterboo, for instance, Abdul Carter, I thought they did very well. You know, Jackson Dart, we'll see, but I thought they made some very, very smart picks. But the Jets are ranked behind Carolina, New Orleans, Jacksonville. I think the fact that they fell so far short of expectations last year is what people are really looking at. It is affecting the perception of this roster. But if we really go back and look at what we had last year versus what we have now, how much has really changed from opening day last year to this year? Let's think about it. Now, everybody has talent, but how many teams get the most out of that talent? Because the Jets sure didn't. All right. I refuse to believe that the defense as a whole is overrated. You know, we heard certain people on YouTube, on the radio saying, you know, Quinnen's overrated, Sauce is overrated, Garrett's overrated, Brees is overrated. All these guys are overrated. When the team has a collective church fart, the way that they did last year, you know what? It's on the culture, the vibe, the feel, the karma, if you want to use that word. Use whatever word you want. But the bottom line is this: the Jets did not have the leadership to shake them out of it when times got hard. They were a mentally weak team last year, and I put that on the coaches for not instilling the mental toughness in them that they should have. I put it 95% on the coaches. A little bit on the front office, a little bit on the players, but the coaches first and foremost. And that's why for years I've been blaming the coaches. Do you guys remember I did a show last summer when ESPN did their roster rankings? You know, when they ranked the main parts of the roster, you know, extra emphasis on the quarterback and all the, on the key positions. And the Jets were number 2, only behind San Francisco. Ironically, 2 teams that did not make the playoffs. Very interesting to note that. But the point is, a lot of the roster from then is still here right now. Let's think about the changes. Okay, we know Aaron Rodgers, or the quarterback that used to be Aaron Rodgers, is gone, and he's been replaced with Justin Fields. But if you look at Rodgers' performance, how great was he really? Some of the stats look nice, but I mean, it's not like he ever led us down the field to a game-winning touchdown. That never happened. Okay, I'm not saying it's all his fault, but you know, it's not like Aaron Rodgers was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers finished 7th in comeback player of the year last year. Only 7th. If he had just an average season, he could have been top 3. Just because he's Aaron Rodgers and he's a quarterback. 7th. What else do you really need to know about that? Okay. So to me, I don't really know if Justin Fields is a massive downgrade. When you factor in, yes, a little bit less accuracy, but the increased mobility, that should give you a little bit of hope. The running backs, exactly the same. The interior offensive line, exactly the same. The same level of wide receivers. Yeah, you've reshoveled a few deck chairs, but you still have Garrett Wilson plus a bunch of question marks. Remember, Devontae Adams did not come here until midway through the season. So I'm not even going to count him compared to the rankings that were preseason last year, okay? Tight ends, you lost Ty Conklin, but come on, big deal. How bummed can you be over losing Ty Conklin? What a top 20 tight end at best? Hey, we've got the great Alon, as I always like to call him. Trade a 4 to Green Bay for a 6 and Romeo Dubs. That's a name that is rumored to be on the market. I would definitely take a chance and draft Matthew Schaefer, of course. Yes, always draft Matthew Schaefer. You can't have enough Matthew Schaefers, and you can't have enough Lee Kravats. It's been well established. Alan, just in case you weren't here at the top, I congratulate you on your hockey team winning the draft lottery. So I hope that put a smile on your face. Yeah, there isn't one coach that was worth keeping, with all due respect. So, and then we look at the defensive line. That hasn't changed too much, and the players who we didn't really need are gone. But you've kept Quinnen, Will, JJ, Some of the young guns too, they're still here also. Linebackers, same. Yeah, you lost CJ, but he only played, 2 games last year? So no big deal there. Cornerback, you have Sauce, you have MC2, you did lose DJ Reed. Now that is the downgrade that we are probably going to deal with. Not that DJ Reed was all that great. He had a lot of penalties. He took quite a few penalties as well. Still a very good cornerback, but he wasn't the same as he was when he first came here. And again, Sherwood, in my mind, you could say outperformed CJ Mosley once he stepped in. Now with the offensive tackle position, you notice I didn't mention that. Morgan Moses is gone. Tyron Smith is gone. So you have some youth there. All right. You got the 2 youths there is what you have. But Tyron Smith, a complete liability last year. Penalties, blown coverage over and over again from him. He couldn't have retired fast enough. And Morgan Moses, he is one tough SOB. God bless him, playing through the injuries that he did. And he was really respected for his leadership. Well, I'm sorry to say, the leadership really didn't make a whole lot of difference in the room last year, did it? So now you got Olu and you've got Armand in there. And now you have Okorafor as your third tackle as opposed to a Carter Warren or a Max Mitchell. You have to like the improved depth there, plus the improved depth on the interior offensive line. You replace Wes Schweitzer with Josh Myers, who could play center or guard very well for you. So you have to like that too. So after all of that, okay, and safety, who cares? Okay, the safeties were bad last year. The safeties didn't change up or down either way in my mind. Okay, so we'll just kind of let that go. A little bit of an improvement, I'd say, with Andre Sisco. We'll give us that much. So you factor in all of that, and I'm supposed to believe the Jets went from second last year to about, at the beginning of the season, top 5. I'll even be conservative. I'll say top 5 roster. And now I'm supposed to believe they dropped 25 spots over losing Aaron Rodgers and DJ Reed. And the ghost of Tyron Smith. Really? It's ridiculous to me. Wild Wave. How you doing, my man? Hope you're having a good night. Appreciate you coming by. That's right. Yeah, supposedly we're bringing this back. John Simpson wants to bring this back. After touchdowns, I am all for it. So, guys, what's our biggest hope for this year? It's in the coaching staff. A coaching staff that is going to figure it out as they go along. So I'm glad Steve Wilkes is there for a little bit of experience. But Aaron Glenn, I'm not asking for 10 wins this year. But when we look at the schedule, and I think it's possible the Jets could win a few more games. Right now, the over-under is 5.5. If Aaron Glenn can get this team to play, okay, then I could see a situation where the games they lose are on talent as opposed to being outworked, being outcoached, being out-hustled. Because here's the thing. If you get your butt kicked because the other team has a lot more talent, that's okay. That's one thing. I can understand that. But if you put out if you make dumb mistakes, like all the penalties, for years we've been talking about penalties with the Jets and what a problem it is. When you are undisciplined, when you drop the ball, when you turn the ball over, when you have false starts and pass interference, and offensive pass interference, and you're missing kicks and stuff like that, all these little things are what's killing you. That is so much more frustrating than anything else. That makes you crazier than being short on the talent. The Jets last year, how many teams, were they out-talented by, to coin a word? How many? Buffalo, maybe? Buffalo? How many besides that? Yeah, am I supposed to believe the Denver Broncos are a significantly more talented team than the Jets were last year? Just as a for instance, there are only a few teams that really dominated them. San Francisco, Arizona. I think there was probably one other team, but so many of those games were close. Even the Pittsburgh game, that was a neck and neck game going to halftime before the wheels fell off. And by the way, Pittsburgh, that's another team. You're going to tell me you look at the roster, the Jets aren't better than Pittsburgh right now? With Mason Rudolph behind center? Come on. Tony Alexio, Clemens better stop his penalties. Clemens better be on the bench. Here's what Clemens could do. Play special teams and be about the 5th defensive end. Okay? Between Tyler Barron, Rashad Weaver, Bray McGregor, Eric Watts. At least 2 of them better, and I'm talking about the backups behind Will and JJ. At least 2 of them be better than Clemens. because it's. I don't know if there's a Jet fan who's not ready to move on from Michael Clemens. I really don't. Yeah. 100 yards and penalties. Is it, it's like every year we have one close game against Buffalo and one game where they absolutely whip us. And that's basically what happened. Yeah, it's the same thing every year. The only difference this year is we didn't beat them at all. So, and we look at the opponents for next season. Now we know by this time next week we'll have the schedule. Let's be honest about that. By the time the show begins, the kickoff show begins, the schedule release at 8 p.m. We know who's going to be there, right? We know what it's going to be. We know how this works. The schedule starts leaking at 11:30 in the morning. By 4:30, we will know all 17 games. All right. Some people think that it's an overhyped day. I actually really look forward to it because to me, it's the last big day before, minicamp really starts. You can plan possible trips if you want to do that. And you break it down. Are there long streaks of home games, long streaks of road games? Where's the short rest? Where are the extended breaks? Where does the bye week fall? Is it early? Is it late? Are the division games spread out across the season or are they compressed? Do you have a streak where you're playing like 2-3 division opponents in a row? Even for fantasy, what teams have favorable playoff matchups? All right, so we'll talk about all of that next week. I may even have a special guest on next week. We'll see how that goes, but I really hope it's one of those years like you always want to get off with a win, but I really hope with a new coach, the Jets are given an easier opponent to start week 1. Even if it's on the road, I really hope we don't have to deal with like Baltimore week 1. Please just don't give us Baltimore or Buffalo week 1. NFL, can I ask for that? Maybe we'll do win-loss. It's like, that's a loss. That's a win. That's a loss. That's a win. But here are the opponents we have to deal with next year. Other than Buffalo, Miami, and New England, which we all know, Tony wants me to bring back the chaos. I think we will be doing that at some point. So we have to deal with the AFC North, which is not ideal, but we host Cleveland and Pittsburgh, go to Baltimore and Cincinnati. Then with the NFC, we play the NFC South hosting Atlanta and Carolina. We go to New Orleans and Tampa Bay. Maybe I'll make a return visit to Bourbon Street. I don't know, but I definitely plan to get to at least one game this season. And then for the random games based off the divisional standings, we host Denver. Thank God we don't have to go there. AVT is thanking the Lord above that he don't have to go to Mile High next year. We host Dallas. Thank goodness. You remember the last time we went to Dallas? What a disaster that was. Oh, my God. That was one of the worst games I ever watched. Micah Parsons just got another sack, I'm pretty sure. And then we go to Jacksonville. Doesn't it feel like we go to Jacksonville like every other year? We are playing Jacksonville constantly, it feels like. So I look at the schedule. Yeah, the AFC North is tough, but you know what? The NFC South, in my mind, would anybody argue that that's the worst division in the NFC? And, Denver, everybody's hyping them up. I mean, Denver's good, but are they really unbeatable next year? I mean, Dallas, I mean, who knows what they are year to year? Jacksonville, they're not any good. So I don't think this is the hardest schedule that I've ever seen as far as the list of opponents goes. So I'm pretty hopeful. By next Wednesday, we will know what it is, and we'll look at certain quirks, anything that stands out to us. But I am definitely looking forward to doing that. All right, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, it looks like the Mets did win 7-1, so they win that series in Arizona. Now they're going to face. Now I think they face the Cubs, who have a pretty dominant offense. So going to be a very interesting series. Always a little personal for me, being that I lived in Chicago for 20 years. All right, guys. So I'll tell you what. Let's do a quick check here on a couple things. All right, guys. So as I got to turn the volume down. There we go. We don't go to the West Coast for any of our games. Yeah, I guess we don't want to cross the Mississippi River. I don't know. Well, we do cross an ocean. So we don't go to the West Coast. Yeah, we do go to the West Coast of Europe. So yeah, we go to the other West Coast. The great Jets mess. The OG of New York Sports WickerMedia, channel member. Glad that you're here, man. Glad that you are here. All right, so we're doing okay on the. We got a few likes so far, but if you haven't hit that thumbs up, guys, please do that. All right, guys, I'll tell you, we're gonna get started with the bonus content just a little bit earlier. And so it is going to be that time. That time indeed. Every single week, you know what I do. I head down into the labyrinth of Jets knowledge. I bust open the books. I dust off the Encyclopedia Britannica. I pull up the websites on the dark web of Jets knowledge, and I, Watch UK99, challenge you, the most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in this NFL. Just how much do you know about your New York Jets? So if you are ready, I know you're ready. Let's play Jets Trivia. All right, guys. So we're going to do one more. We're going to do another draft question here. And I think after that, I'll come up with some random question topics like jersey numbers. That's always kind of a fun one. Different things like that. Come season, of course, it'll always be a question about the Jets versus their opponent. I always try to make these questions as topical as I can. So you all know the rules. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. Still trying to figure out how to add the freaking clock to StreamYard because they make it very hard. And then throw your answers there in the chat, and let's see if we can get the question right. So tonight's question goes like this. As we put the 5 minutes on the clock, name the last 5 quarterbacks the Jets have drafted. Harlan, hurry. The Celtics game starts soon. I know. It starts in 15 minutes. And it will be a Knicks invasion tonight, I can promise you. I actually have a good friend who's a Jets and a Celtics fan. And Red Sox. I think all Boston teams except the Jets. How messed up is that, right? Great guy, but I'm like, I don't know how he pulled that one off. So the last 5 quarterbacks the Jets have drafted, who are they? Danger Zone says Bryce Petty. Is it Bryce Petty? No. Wild Wave goes Jordan Travis. How about Jordan Travis? That's right. From that renowned football powerhouse, Florida International. Wild Wave says Zachary Capono Wilson. That's right. Yeah, 2 winners to start off here, right? So then Grandizer goes with Sam Darnold. How about Sam Darnold? That's right. And let's see. Jets also said Morgan, Zach Morgan. Harlan Abraham goes with, he says Darnold, Sanchez, and Travis. Okay, so I can tell you Jordan Travis is correct. That's 4. All right, so you got Jordan Travis, Zach Wilson, James Morgan, and Sam Darnold. There's one more. Chris, no, it is not Chad Pennington. I have a semi-correct answer. I cannot acknowledge it until it's correct. Mason Taylor, that's right. Yeah, Mason Taylor, right. Wild Wave, you're close, but you got to say, but I'm going to need you to say the actual answer. Lee Cravat, of course. Yes. Yeah. Just for you guys, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to do, we'll do a quick wheel after this. I got a new wheel, and we're going to do just a quick one after we do the trivia, because I got a feeling you're going to have the answer very, very soon. I want to pull out a brand new wheel for you. So this is just a little gift from me to you all. Oh, and by the way, guys, remember, this Sunday is Mother's Day, so call your mom, get her a gift, figure out what would make her happy, and be sure to tell your mom that you love her. Hopefully you can. So I just want to give us and myself a quick reminder on that. Danger Zone, yep, you got it. Christian Hackenberg. There we go. Wild Wave, my father called. Did we get it? You sure did get it. Yep, the chat got the answer right in about 2 minutes, so you know what that means. Very good job, everybody. So, yes, you guys knocked this trivia out quite quickly. Yeah, I thought this one would be a little bit more gettable. So you look at that list. Yeah, let's just pull this back up. Jordan Travis, Zach Wilson, James Morgan, Sam Darnold, Christian Hackenberg. When Sam Darnold is the best one of these, wow. The IC ghost quarterback. This is one sad I'm glad we didn't draft a quarterback this year. You know what I'm talking about? How sad is this? All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. We got a pretty good turnout here in the chat right now. So I just want to do a quick. I got to get this freaking list off. Oh my god, my eyes hurt too. Woo! All right. So let's do. Let it be known that Woody forced JD to draft that bum Zach. I think we could get Woody at this point charged with the Kennedy assassination if we really tried hard enough. All right, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. I have a brand new wheel, and we got a nice influx of people in here right now. This is fantastic. All right, so here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to share the screen. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to track the chat on my phone. So for anybody who might be new, we have a couple of different wheels. And on this particular wheel of Jets wide receivers, we've got some of the best, we got some of the worst. And what we're going to do is spin this wheel randomly. We got Santana Moss, we got Stephen Hill. We we got pretty much the whole thing. We've got Don Maynard, we've got Denzel Mims. We got everybody. So we're going to spin the wheel. We're going to do a 5-spin wheel, and we're going to blind rank them. So whoever we land on, we're going to try to put them in that 1 to 5 rank. And at the end of it, we're going to try to have a correct 1 to 5 order. And if we can get that correct, then we win the wheel. All right. So we got a bunch of different names here. And the other stipulation is I'm still going to do this. Put your guesses down there in the chat on who we're going to land on. And if we land on that player, you get to pick what spot we put that player at. All right. So that's what we're going to do. Hey, Scott Foster, I see you're here too. How you doing, man? That's right. One of the best beards in all of Jets fandom. It's basically him and Green Bean. I think they're tied for first. They're running neck and neck. All right. So as this wheel spins around, you can see we got some Hall of Famers and we got some Hall of Shamers. So guys, I'm going to ask you to start putting your guesses in the chat, your picks in the chat. Who are we going to land on with that first pick? And again, we're just going to do 1 through 5. So when we do our ranking, go 1 being the best, 5 being the worst, okay? Neck and neck, literally, right. All right. All right. Oh, Chris and Harlan both want Altoon, but Chris got it in first. Harlan, I'm going to have to ask you to change your pick. Sorry, Chris beat you by just a second, and he even got the extra O's in there, which makes it even more impressive, to be honest with you. Hey, Sharon McLean, the queen of trivia herself. She wants Wayne Corbett. Okay. Let's see if anybody takes any clunker wide receivers, you know? Scott wants Wesley Walker. Tony wants Keyshawn Johnson. Yeah. Father Abraham and your many sons, I want to give you okay, you take Don Maynard? Okay, very good. I'm going to say we start out with a bust here. We get the wheel off to a crappy start. I'm going to say we land on Denzel Mims. And the way we'll do it, if you want to change your pick after this, then put it in the chat. If not, I'm just going to assume you want to keep that player the rest of the way. Just to make that way I don't have to ask you to type a new player every minute, every spin. Okay, guys, so let's spin the wheel in 3, 2, 1. We get that nice background music there. Danger wants Brad Smith. Okay. And we land on, just past Wayne Corbett. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, Sharon almost got it, but it's Rob Moore, who we traded a first round in the supplemental draft, drafted him with a supplemental first round pick. And had we not done that, we could have drafted Brett Favre. Now, I'm not saying that would have worked out, but yeah, I would have taken my chances. So we look at Rob Moore's stats here. And again, we're going to rank 1 through 5. So wherever you want to put him, you let me know. Grandizer wants Terrence Mathis. All right, I got it. So Rob Moore was a Jet for 5 years. Then he spent 5 years in Arizona. Played 73 games, 306 catches, 4,258 yards. It's about 14 yards of reception. 22 touchdowns, so about 4 touchdowns a season. Made 1 Pro Bowl. So, he was a good receiver. He had 1 1,000-yard season, another season where he had 987. So, he was a pretty good, solid wide receiver for the Jets. Rob Moore, who was a really good Jet, but who is as good as – he was really good as a card. Yeah, he was all-pro in 1997, first team. Had 1,584 yards one year. Led the league in yards per game in 97 as a Cardinal. So he was a good Jet, but he was a very good Cardinal. So I see some 3s. I see some 4s. Okay. I think that's right around the right range, right in that middle back is where I would go. Yeah. Yeah. But I just want to do a 5 here, and I think that'll be perfect for tonight. They make the playoffs. I don't. What year was that? 91. He made the playoffs with the Jets. 1998. He made the playoffs with the Cardinals. 11 catches, 132 yards in 2 games, no touchdowns. So, all right. Looks like the 3s are winning out. So Rob Moore is going to get spot number 3 on the wheel. Okay. All right, guys. I'll give everybody about 30 seconds. If you want to change your pick, go ahead. Otherwise, you're going to keep who you have. Wild Wave, what are we doing? My mom called this time. Wild Wave is popular with his parents. So we're spinning the wheel of Jets wide receivers. We have a brand new wheel, first time ever unveiled. We've done 1 spin, and Rob Moore is in spot number 3. So, Wild Wave, did you make a pick? I don't think you did. All right. So Wild Wave, check out the chat because a bunch of people have picked their players, and decide who you would like to have, who you'd like to pick. If we land on that player, then you get to pick where he goes, just like with the 100 Jets. But we're just going to do top 5. Harlan, yep. I know you have Maynard. Yep. So if you're not changing it, no need to say anything. Wild Wave, I want to give you a chance to pick your receiver. Santana Moss, I gotcha. Okay. I'm going to keep my player as well, who's Denzel Mims. And let's spin that wheel in 3, 2, 1. And it comes to a stop on. Oh, very close, Wild Wave. It's the Gabe Davis predecessor. We have chosen Robbie Anderson. See what I did there? Yes, we have chosen Robbie Anderson. So when we look at him, again, could go long, had his moments, but had his moments when he was just a head case. What's his name now? Robbie Felix, I think. Did he change his name again? Yeah. Robbie Chosen, i.e. Robbie. That's it. So with the Jets, as I'm pulling the stats up here. So undrafted free agent, was with us only 4 years. Feels like it was longer. So with the Jets, he, played 62 games. So played a lot, 207 catches, 3,059 yards, 15 yards per catch, 20 touchdowns. So basically 5 touchdowns a season. Anything else that we should look at? 54% catch percentage. That's pretty good. Averaged about 49 yards per game. I know. Can I hurry up? I'm trying to give everybody a fair chance here. So a lot of 4s, a few 5s, but mostly 4s. Yeah, I would go 4. Yeah, Wild Wave. It's 1 to 5. Just for the interest of time so everybody can watch the Knicks. Yeah, I think I would go 4 on this one myself. We're going to hit on one bust here. Okay, I know Robbie was a head case for us, but he was a useful Jet. I could put him on about the level of Rob Moore. So yeah, there were times he was our 1. There were times he was our 3 3, 4. It just all depended. Had that great touchdown catch against Dallas that Darnold threw. That was probably the highlight of that whole season. Yeah, I think a 4 is a fair spot for him. So we've taken spots 1, 3, and we've taken spots 3 and 4. So spots remaining are 1, 2, and 5. I'll give everybody about 30 seconds. If you want to change your pick, go ahead. All right. Okay, giving everybody a chance to change their pick. Looks like everybody is keeping theirs. So I'll go back up to where the picks are. There we go. Spin number 3. Let's spin that wheel in 3, 2, 1. And of course, we do have a few stipulation spaces on the wheel as well, which can mess with it a little bit. And we're going to have to spin. Oh, I thought we'd have a respin. Instead, it's Santonio Holmes. Ooh, this is going to be a tough one. We've got spots 1, 2, and 5. Now, I'll be curious to see what you all want to do with him because Santonio was not here very long. It was a good trade the Jets made at the time. Re-signing him didn't work out very well, but he was here for 4 years. Let's see, 43 games. Not a lot. Did help us get to the promised land. Had a big that big touchdown against Houston. 146 catches, 2,128 yards, 14 yards per reception, 49 yards per game, 16 touchdowns. That's it, only 16 touchdowns? Wow, we have 14 in his first 2 years and then 2 in the last 2 years total. Yeah, he only played 4 games in his third year with us. But yeah, no Pro Bowl, no All-Pro, nothing like that. Had his good moments, but it ended terribly. So we got to go 1, 2, or 5 here. Yeah, wait, we can't put him at 3. Spot 3 is already taken. Harlan wants to go 5. Chris wants to go 2. Scott wants to go 2. You know, he never had, with us, he never even had 800 yards receiving in a season. But 14 touchdowns in his first 2 years is really good. And let's be honest, especially in 2010, we had some great success with him and played very well against the Patriots. Let me pull up his playoff numbers with us. 2 games. Yeah, 3 games. 17 yards, only 9 catches. He only had 9 catches in 3 playoff games. 127 yards, but 2 touchdowns, including an amazing one against New England. All right. We're going to go. All right. Looks like 2's going to win out on this one. And to be honest with you, is it ideal? No, but I couldn't say that I would buzz it. All right. Santonio gets number 2, but hey, maybe we'll land on delete any pick. You know, there's also a space that says delete last pick. We could land on that. Maybe it is a 5. Yeah, we're going to go. Yeah, we've got 2. It's locked in. So remaining, we got spot 1. We got spot 5. So nobody has guessed. Yeah, nobody's guess has come through yet. All right. So this is the last one where somebody can place a player where they want. Let's spin the wheel in 3, 2, 1. We need Hall of Fame or Hall of Shame. No middle ground here. Oh. And it's, well, Robbie Anderson again. So we're going to respin since we've already landed on him. All right, let's respin. 3, 2, 1. Respin. Oh, the drama's picking up here, isn't it? Oh, boy. Oh, keep going. Keep going. All right. We landed on, I think, a pretty certain number 5. It's Ryan Yarborough. If you're all wondering who the hell is that, I don't blame you. But Ryan Yarborough, just to give you the numbers on him, we drafted him in the 2nd round back in 1994. He was a Jet for 2 years, and that was it. He had he had in his 2 seasons, 24 catches, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just didn't really do a whole heck of a lot, you know? Just didn't do much. Even 6 catches 1 year, 18 catches the second year. Yeah, we know where this one's going. Ryan Yarborough will be a clear number 5. So we got Santonio, we got Robbie, Ryan, and San Antonio coming soon to Netflix. Right? Yeah, Robbie, and Ryan. What round was he drafted in again, Granda? 2nd round pick in 1994. 41st overall. Just for context on that. 41st overall. Drafted right after him. Charlie Garner, the running back. That would have worked out well. Oh, God. 5 picks after him. Larry Allen, the Hall of Fame guard for the Cowboys. That was at 46. 48, Bucky Brooks, ironically, who's now an NFL analyst. Oh, my. That one hurts to just look at. Oh. Brinston Buckner, defensive tackle from Pittsburgh. He wasn't too bad. But, oh, my God, we passed on Larry Allen for freaking Ryan Yarborough. Woo! Malcolm Floyd was drafted back then. Yeah, Not a ton of players you would have heard of. Let's put it that way. But Larry Allen, that one hurts. Scott Foster, don't blow this spin. I will try, but I will say this. If we get a better Jet receiver than Santonio Holmes, I think we're going to call it a win. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is the penultimate spin of the night. And we are going to make that final spin of the night in 3, 2, 1.5. Okay. 1. Oh, I think we got it. Lavernius Coles. That's right. Lavernius Coles. I think that's a great way to end it. So Lavernius in his Jets career, let's obviously a 3rd round pick in 2000, spent a total of 7 years with the Jets, 3 years with them, 2 years with the Commanders, Redskins, then 4 years back with the Jets. And his total stats, 459 catches on 767 attempts. That's pretty good. 5,941 yards, 56 yards per game, 37 touchdowns, never made a Pro Bowl with the Jets. But especially in those early years with Chad Pennington, he was his go-to target, especially in 2002. And he really emerged to become one of the best. So Lavernius Coles is our number 1 for the night. So, guys, as far as the wheel goes tonight, I'd have to call it a win. Oh, all right. Harlan, yes, the Knicks game is starting. Go New York, go New York, go. All right, and I'm about to go myself. Everybody, thanks so much for hanging out with me. Come on back next Wednesday night, 6 p.m. We're going to break down the schedule. I plan to have a guest on that night. Stay tuned for more content on that. Have a great rest of your week. Be sure to call your mom if you can, and I will see you right back here with more content from you all know where it is. The Wicker Chair. Have a good night, everybody.